the summons. He spoke without opening his eyes. "I need another drink. Nanashi, ask the guy to bring me a beer, okay?" Haru slumped on the couch. A snoring girl in a wrinkled dress flopped across his chest. Haru did not sound as if he needed another beer. Nanashi wanted to call Yuki, but he was afraid to wake her. She worked the night shift as a cocktail waitress at another club. He imagined her fumbling around the apartment, sluggish with exhaustion, leaving a trail of shoes, hose, her skirt and panties hanging from a chair. He saw her through the frosted glass of the shower, lathering herself, then in bed, damp hair over her cheek as daylight crept through the blinds. She slept naked. He sighed and herded his associates out of the club, ignoring their clamoring and protestations. Long ago, Nanashi learned to do as families say. It was that simple. He'd only argued against the wisdom of his elders once. They made Nanashi chop off his little finger at the second knuckle as a reminder. "One down, one to go," joked Uncle Kojima. He had kept Nanashi's pinky in a jar of formaldehyde with those of other transgressors. A floating white garden. And as for Nanashi, the boys hustled him across town to Dr. Yi's office and had him fitted for a nice, snug prosthetic. He tapped his fake pinky against the rim of his glass of tea, dropped it in the pocket of his nightshirt when he slept, chewed it when he was bored. Sworn Father Kojima was dead, and Nanashi couldn't bring himself to wax sentimental. Too bad new boss, Uncle Yutaka, was an even bigger prick than the old boss. While their fellow gangsters waited around the lobby of the Palace of the Sunfish, Koma took Nanashi and Amida to meet with Uncle Yutaka in the Gold Room. It was evidently a momentous occasion for Koma. He'd been surlier than normal. Sweat poured from him and a blister swelled on his lip, a sure sign of nerves. Everyone must be on their best behavior when Father arrived. Uncle Yutaka was number 3 in the Heron Syndicate. Only the chairman, their esteemed Father Akima, and his major domo were more powerful, and they left everything up to Yutaka these days. Nanashi once heard Koma was afraid Uncle Yutaka didn't like him. From what Nanashi knew of Uncle Yutaka, he figured Koma's fear was reasonable. Uncle Yutaka was old and fat. He wore amber-tinted shooting glasses and an ice-water blue suit from the 1960s. Heavily influenced by the James Bond movies of that era, he'd bankrolled a series of straight-to-video Tokyo and Hong Kong spy flicks, had established himself as a poor man's Albert Broccoli. His teeth were made of porcelain, and his shaky hands were spackled with liver spots. He'd been to the hospital for 3 heart operations in the past 5 years. Haru claimed their uncle's heart was monitored by a pacemaker, but nobody knew for certain. Uncle Yutaka enjoyed foreign cigarettes. He especially preferred Camels and Pall Malls, Benson and Hedges, and vintage brands like Lucky Strike. Everybody brought him cigarettes when they returned from travels abroad. It had become a minor contest between the brothers of the Heron to see whose exotic smokes Uncle would favor during his weekly audiences at the Palace of the Sunfish. Uncle smoked palm out and vented the exhaust from the sides of his mouth. Yutaka's tinted glasses pointed dead ahead and fooled most of the gang, but Nanashi caught Uncle watching him from the corners of his eyes. Uncle's eyes were yellow and pink and small like the eyes of a Komodo. Nanashi hadn't been following the conversation, he never did. Instead, he'd rolled up his sleeve and stuck his arm into the fish tank, patiently attempting to snag one of the snappers creeping in its depths. The weight of Uncle Yutaka's cold reptilian appraisal made him nervous and fidgety. He churned the water and the fish scattered. No, Uncle. He's just a bit distractible is all." Koma stood at Uncle Yutaka's shoulder. His head was large, and it sat directly on the wide collar of his canary-yellow suit. Uncle Yutaka was seated at his customary table with his cronies Ichiban and Akio, both of whom were old and withered, too shrunken for their antique suits and fedoras. They were sipping scotch and smoking lots of cigarettes. The air around them was blue and foul and made them seem to float.